Okay, hello and welcome. This is going to be my preview for Sweden's upcoming game against England, the quarterfinals of the Euros. Um, I'm going to be talking about it. Obviously, this channel is dedicated to Sweden, but I feel like I have pretty good knowledge on England to, you know, talk about them and kind of how I'm going to talk about the head-to-heads first, as you can see on the screen, talk a bit about England's form, and then also kind of where Sweden can exploit England in their team and where England can exploit us as well. Just kind of things like that, and looking how the teams match up and a few potential um, selection decisions that Gerhardsson has to make for Sweden. So, yeah, I wanted to quickly just look at head to head because there has been a recent history between the two sides. Obviously, there was Euro 2022, which did not go well at all. Um, there was a few chances more in the first half where maybe we could have changed the game a bit, but overall, England were really good. They were really good throughout that whole Euros, deserved winners, but that was obviously a really tough game, one to try and forget. But a lot of those players are still here, apart from a few. It's quite a similar team. But I would say we were in the same qualifying group as England, obviously, and I think the two recent games there showcase probably a better reflection of the similarity between the two sides. I think we're both two top teams. Um, that first one it was a very even game. I think Blackstenius missed quite a good chance to make it 2-1, a one-on-one. I remember, but I think Kafaji made a really good impact in that game. I think she should have the cross for the goal. But yeah, obviously a different sort of game. The second matchup, which was the final matchup of the qualification, the winner went through. Or if England drew as well, they could also go through. Obviously, it was a draw, so 0-0. So we had to go through the playoffs. But 0-0, it was a bit of a disappointing game. I mean, there was criticism for Gerhardsson that we didn't go more at them, but at the end of the day, that was the start of our unbeaten run. 14 games unbeaten for Sweden. So you take the positives where you can. But yeah, I think both those games were pretty evenly matched. I don't think there was either side that was really on top in either game. So I think I think this upcoming game will be a very tight one. I think both teams are two quality sides with a lot of good players, and I wouldn't be surprised if we go to extra time, but I'll talk about that later. I just wanted to talk about England's form. Now, I know it may seem a bit weird talking about their form overall in 2025, when at the end of the day, I agree with, you're in a tournament, you're in a camp now. What happened before kind of goes out the window. You can build momentum within it. But I did want to just point out that I feel like this year, and you could go back to the autumn friendlies as well in 2024, but I feel like they've struggled to build much consistency. It's always a poor performance and a good performance, a poor performance and a good performance in each camp. Just example, that poor game they played against away in Portugal, Kike Nazareth made a really big difference in the second half. And then they beat Spain, which is obviously really impressive. I don't think it was Spain's strongest side, but you can then look at the next window in April when England beat Belgium really convincingly and then lost to Belgium a few days later, which is kind of crazy. And they've been on this kind of inconsistent good game, bad game, good game until now, which is the first time for a while where they've had two games so close to each other where they've won, basically. Which is obviously different to our form where we have been unbeaten for a while, even though we weren't amazing in the Nations League Sweden. But yeah, England obviously really really poor game against France, where they looked majorly out of it, really overrun in the midfield. They didn't really look like they had much of a midfield, especially when they had the ball. I didn't really know what England were trying to do, kind of how they were trying to progress the ball up the pitch. It looked all a bit lost. But then to bounce back says a lot. It says a lot the way they responded against Netherlands, and to then bounce back and then to keep that form going against Wales as well. Obviously, a different level of opponent, but still really impressive. So I think they showed in the last two games exactly why they are a feared team, exactly why they've reached two back-to-back finals in the Euros and then the World Cup. So yeah, I did want to draw on that they have shown for a while now under Serena that they have been inconsistent. Okay, then I wanted to talk about some selection headaches that we had, Sweden, and then also kind of comparing the sides. I've got the lineups here and kind of where each team can exploit each other, because I think both teams have some weaknesses. This is the two sides that I think will play. I think England, I'm pretty certain that's going to be their side. For us, I think left back, I wouldn't say it's a definite that Jona Andersson's going to play. Obviously, Nilden came in for that for the Poland game. I think she provides probably a bit more pace, a bit more. I think we know how good Andersson's got a brilliant left foot, so and she gets up really high on the pitch. Her corners are brilliant. Again, that got for Lena Hurtig's goal against Poland. She was on the money again. We know how important those in-swingers are from this corner flag here, but I don't. I do think there are concerns with Jona Andersson defensively sometimes. I think she can provide a good, stable, experienced head and be a really solid player. But sometimes when she's getting run at by fast players, she can look a bit lost. And I think that happened in the first 10 minutes against Germany. She kind of backpedaling and they were kind of all over her. It didn't happen for the rest of the match. Obviously, there was a red card, but there was also a period where there wasn't a red card. So I am confident in her abilities. And I do think that with this England side, it's not like... I think if there was someone of Lauren Hemp's kind of ability slash kind of playing style over there against Andersson in terms of just pure pace, running past them, causing havoc, then I think I would be worried about that for Andersson. But because it's Lauren James who will come inside a bit more, she's obviously she's a big danger for us. We've got to keep an eye on her in terms of the way she can carry the ball, manipulate the ball. The ball kind of sticks to her feet. She's really good at driving with it. I think that she's not necessarily going to be in those. She's not going to necessarily be just trying to take on Andersson and go around the outside. That's not really her game. She might be breaking in field and then using either foot to whack it in the top corner. So a bit, she's a bit of a different. I'm less concerned about Andersson 1v1 because of the playing style that she's going to be up against. Is basically my point. Hannah Lundqvist, I think there'll be people who are talking about the right back and might be like, Holmberg's playing so well, she has to play. And don't get me wrong, she's so good. I've spoken about it before. And it's also not just like, oh, she's really good going forward, but then she's a bit of a liability defensively or something. Like, no, like she's up for it defensively. She gets blocks in. She looks fine defensively. But I would say probably for the balance of the team, I would prefer Hannah Lundqvist. I think she played really well in the first few games. I think she also put in some good crosses. She's not like a slouch. She's not bad going forward. And I think it's more just her solid in terms of the build-up, in terms of the way the combination passes. Look, Kaneryd will hold this position, hold really wide, and then we'll have combinations with like Asllani and Angeldal and the right back, which I assume is going to be Lundqvist. But I think when you have Holmberg, she wants to do similar stuff to Kaneryd, which is just take the ball and run at a player. And I think that double threat, I've called it before, can be useful, especially maybe if you're chasing a game. But I just think overall, to get the best out of these players, I think it's Hannah Lundqvist there to help make the combinations and still overlap sometimes. She can do that. But I think she's just the best suited for that right-hand side overload that Gerhardsson deploys loads. So yeah. I expect Zigotti to play, Zigotti Olme. I think more at the tournament, maybe there was more debate. Look, I think Bennison's a quality player with brilliant technical attributes and she's improved the defensive side of the game really well. But I just think Zigotti Olme's defensive awareness is just up another level. And I feel like it kind of showed at the start of that Germany game. I think we were missing her. I think the way she shields the back four, she's just so good. She's just so. And even if maybe her awareness is even if she's not in the perfect position, her covering tackles can be really strong. So I'm very happy. I'm assuming she's going to play. Angeldal we know, Kaneryd we know, Asllani definitely, Blackstenius, yeah, and Rolf is the other position. I think if you asked me before the tournament, it'd be like 100% Rolf was playing, and Rolf was playing every minute probably. Now, of course, she had picked up an injury. She came back for a tiny bit at the end of Poland, and then she started half of the game against Germany. Is she fully fit enough to go again? Now I think I think you start her, because if you bring her off the bench and being like, okay, 30 minutes or whatever, I'm sure people will expect us to start her, but just in the other scenario, and then you have to do extra time, that would be not great. So I think you start with Rolfa. She's our strongest left wing, definitely. I do think Yanogi's playing really well. I don't want to diss Yanogi. Like, I've been really impressed by her. I think it's unlucky that she has to drop out, but you know, Rolfa is a quality player that has um, delivered for us time and time again. And then Yanogi off the bench, I think, can make an impact. But yeah, I think that it's more. It makes sense that Rolfa starts and she can show her qualities, and then we take her off, because she's not playing 90 minutes, I'm sure. Unless I mean, I'd be surprised. I'd be surprised. I did want to just go back to what I was talking about on the right hand side. When we set up, obviously Rolfa kind of tucks in, or if it's Yanogi, Anderson will come out here. When we set up and we overload the right hand side, which, to be fair, I didn't feel like we did as massively. We obviously still went down there, but we didn't maybe see as many numerical overloads with Asllani and Angeldal there against Germany, but we massively saw it against Poland. I mean, I think we will see it, because a big weakness of this England side is the left back. Now, I think Alex Greenwood is a brilliant player. She's obviously, though, a centre back, and Carter got ripped to shreds in the game against France. So they've switched them round, and I think that was the right decision. I watched that game, and Greenwood provides more balance for England, being a left footer as well. So it makes sense they've switched Carter back into centre back and Greenwood there. But at the end of the day, she's not a left back. So even if she's looking more solid there, I think we can still target her with Canaridge running. And we know it's at the end of the day, it sort of is just about getting into Canarid's feet and seeing what she can do to get it back into the box, and getting it to Blackstenius, Rolfa, and Asllani. But we know it's about kind of the combinations that we play with these players, kind of Angeldal, Canarid, and Asllani, the kind of like triangles between them, and then Lundqvist joins in, and then maybe it's like a triangle between Lundqvist, Angeldal, and Canarid, and then the through ball to Lundqvist. Yeah, I said that right. And then Angeldal, like through balls to Canarid to get it back in to Blackstenius is kind of the idea, isn't it? That's our big thing, and I think it makes sense that we continue using that tactic, because this is a weak side. I think Bronze can obviously be got at defensively because of how high she gets up the pitch, but I think we continue doing what we've been doing here. Um, I think that defensively, um, it, England it's very important for them that Walsh can get on the ball and then find opposition players. Um, we see Bronze get very high, and they almost do like a back three in build up when Greenwood's there now. Um, Sorry, I'm taking a while to move all these people. This is my first time using this, so I hope you enjoy. Um, but yeah, Williamson, Carter, Greenwood. Now, the key is that Asllani will always lock on to their number 6, their deepest midfielder of whoever we're playing against, but then she will push off then. So if Carter's got the ball and with Blackstenius has got it, Blackstenius will press, say Carter then goes out to Greenwood, then Asllani will make that press there. The key will then be whether we've got the players whether she can make sure she blocks that pass into Walsh, or whether they don't. Greenwood to Stanway to Walsh, and then if Walsh gets the ball here and just beats the first 2 of our press, because that's kind of how we press, in the 4-4-2, we set up defensively like this. Sorry, I should have maybe just made that more clear. We always set up with the 4-4 and then the 2 here as Lani joins Blackstenius. Then Walsh has the time to then pick James, pick Bronze, Toon, Stanway, Hemp, and you can already see we look a bit overloaded, don't we, when if that press is beaten, especially because we play with the double pivot, so we don't have a massive amount of numbers in here when that is beaten. You know, we go quite narrow, and the wingers Rolfo and Canara do really help out. But I think Walsh, it's about not giving her that time to be able to then pick the passes for James and tune in these dangerous areas, because that's when England can really hurt you. And they've got so many threats, you know, out wide. Bronze and Hemp as well really is a really strong runner, playing really well this tournament, really dangerous. Sort of similar to what Canarid's doing for us, just like holding the touchline and then making those runs. But yeah, so for me that's a key, and it'll be interesting, the midfield battle, because like I said, I feel like we didn't start well in midfield against Germany, and I thought England were really poor for the whole game in midfield against France. Obviously, they've seemed to have sorted that out with getting Toon back in there with Stanway and Walsh, and then James out wide. But I think I wouldn't say neither team. I think it'll be, basically my point is, I think it'll be really interesting to see who can dominate that midfield. And I hope, from our sake, that Zigotti Olme can kind of, obviously she's on the left side. She can kind of deal, maybe, hopefully she can deal with James. It's a tough ask. But yeah, those are kind of my thoughts on how I think the game's going to go, what I think we'll do with our players. I think I kind of skipped the centre back, but I think Eriksson will come in. Sembrant's played really well when she's had to play, Ilestedt as well, but I think Eriksson, she's the strongest option, definitely Bjorn. But I think Eriksson is the strongest option, and obviously she missed the first 2 games through a little injury, so I think she'll be back now. But yeah, I think this is going to be a really tight game, and I think there's obviously a lot riding on it, because both teams know they've probably got a bit lucky with the draw. You know, the winner will play Norway or Italy. I think both teams will really fancy that game. So without getting ahead of myself, it does sort of feel, as people are saying, you know, the winner sort of is in the final. So it does feel like there's a lot riding on this game. I think it will be tight. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a 0-0, 1-1, and then an extra time. I think both sides have definitely got the attack, and I think it does come down to who can actually probably take their chances. You know, Blackstenius, Rolfo. Obviously, there'll be loads of other players involved, but I think both sides. I think we can target their defense, and they probably will think they can target our defense. I think our defense is maybe stronger than they think. But I think both sides will be confident in the attacking abilities. However, saying that, I think we'll see maybe quite a few missed opportunities, maybe goalkeepers on top. And as I've mentioned in my recent videos, I have good faith in Peter Gerhardsen and the team, the setup, the kind of cohesion between the players, the spirit in the team. I think we're looking in a good place. You know, 3 wins out of 3 in the group. You know, we couldn't have asked for really much better in the way of performances as well. So I'm really confident with the side, and like I said, the spirit in the group seems really, really strong, and it does feel like this could be the year. And I feel, and I really hope that spirit and cohesion within the team can drag us through tough games like this. But I mean, who knows really? I'm just kind of trying to give a prediction, I guess. But I think I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a tight game. I hope this is not my last preview of this Euros, but if it is, thank you for watching them. And yeah, if you're interested in this kind of stuff, I'll be doing a reaction after the game. If you're interested in more Sweden content, then subscribe and like. Thank you for the comments. They're really good. But yeah, I'll see you for the next one.